Now, that kind of package in which everybody has responsibilities, I think is one that can pass. And it is one that I am fully supportive of. And I've said this again and again. And I think if we get that done, then you will be less likely to see the kinds of measures that we saw in Arizona. Here's the challenge that we have politically. The political challenge is that I have confidence that I can get the majority of Democrats, both in the House and the Senate, to support a piece of legislation of the sort that I just described. But I don't have 60 votes in the Senate. I've got to have some support from Republicans. When we made an effort of this sort a few years ago, it was under the leadership of John McCain and Ted Kennedy, and because there was a bipartisan effort, we were actually able to generate a majority of votes in the Senate. And we just missed being able to get it done in the House. If we can recreate that atmosphere, I don't expect to get every Republican vote, but I need some help in order to get it done. And there have been people who expressed an interest, but if they're willing to come forward and get a working group and get this moving, I'm actually confident that we can get it done. And the American people, including the people of Arizona, are going to prefer that the federal government takes responsibility and does what it's supposed to do. And it's my job to work with members of Congress to see that happen. And it's also my job to work with the Mexican government to make sure that it happens, because President Calderon recognizes that he has responsibilities on his side of the border as well. And the last point I'll make on this topic is this. I think all of us recognize that some of the pressures with respect to immigration just arise out of economics. People in Mexico are looking for opportunity, and they feel that they can make more money here in the United States. What we also have to recognize, and I talked about this with President Calderon, is every nation also has the right to secure its borders and make orderly decisions about who comes in and who comes out. And the key here is for us to keep both principles in mind, that people want to find a better life where they can, and if they have opportunity in America, they're going to want to come here. We can't just try to use force to prevent that. On the other hand, the United States has to be able to make determinations about who comes in and who comes out in an orderly fashion. And if we are both a nation of laws and a nation of immigrants, then I think we will not only be true to our core values, but we're also going to be creating a more prosperous future for everybody. Okay.
De México, Radio Fórmula, por favor, Israel.
Radio Formula, Israel has a question.
Presidente Obama, varios temas. Para no desviarnos del mismo, me gustaría saber
not to detour from this same topic, I would like to know if you have already a strategy plan in regards to the Arizona law, because it is violating the fundamental rights of people. How are you going to turn around this trend, President Obama, that is being shown in different states of the United States against migrants? This migratory reform that you're talking about, to know when it will be taken to Congress and what's the scope that it will have. The second area regarding security, President Obama, I would like to know, how do you value the battle against organized crime that President Calderon is having? Has this been a success? What is it missing? And following this issue, to know if you have seen that the weapons that illegally cross from the United States to Mexico are the ones that are used by the organized crime people in Mexico. Shouldn't there be an initiative that will regulate guns as they are sold? Is there
with respect to your first question, I felt like I gave a pretty comprehensive answer earlier, so I'm just going to take your second question. and that is the issue of security. This is obviously a shared concern and is going to require shared effort on the part of both of our nations. I said the first time I met President Calderon, and have said ever since, that I greatly admire his courage, his dedication, his tenacity in trying to deal with the drug traffickers and cartels that have created such a public safety crisis in many communities within Mexico. As we pointed out, this is not just an issue of the drug trade. This is an issue of how is it affecting people's day-to-day lives within Mexico. And the Mexican people have an interest in dealing with this. And he has stood up consistently because he recognizes that his foremost job, his most important task as president, is to keep the Mexican people safe. So we are fully supportive of the efforts that he's been making. We have had extensive collaboration over the last several years in making sure that in a way that respects Mexico's sovereignty, we are responsive to whatever requests are made by the Calderon administration to the extent that we can help through the Merida initiative, provide equipment, provide training, provide technologies that can help in these efforts. We have done so. And we will continue to coordinate as effectively as we can with the Calderon administration to make sure that we deal with this problem. Now, as you point out, this is not just a problem in Mexico. It is a problem that the United States has to address. And the two things that we have to address, and I've said this when I was in Mexico and I'll repeat here, it is absolutely true that U.S. demand for drugs helps to drive this public safety crisis within Mexico. And so we've got an obligation not to drive the demand side of the equation. And so most recently we've put forward our new strategy that emphasizes not just enforcement but also prevention, also treatment, so that we can drive down demand and weaken the grip that these drug cartels have. The second aspect of this that we have to deal with is the southbound flows from the United States of both weapons and cash that helps to empower these drug cartels. And so what I've directed my Department of Homeland Security, ATF, all our various agencies that have responsibilities in these areas to do is to ramp up our efforts at interdicting these southern flows. And I already mentioned to you, for example, we've now instituted a policy where we are searching 100% of rail cargo that's going south. That is a significant investment of law enforcement resources on our part, but it's the right thing to do. We want to crack down on illegal gun dealers who are selling weapons into Mexico. All those are steps that we are doing in coordination with the Calderon government, and we will continue to emphasize the importance not only to Mexico but also to the United States of tackling this problem. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.